Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Harman Yusuf. I will present you about comparison of performance between Kafka and Raft as ordering service nodes implementation in Hyperledger Fabric. This is the overview of the presentation. Blockchain is a new distributed ledger technology. The first application of the blockchain was started from Bitcoin that was created by Satoshi Nakamoto. As time goes by, several companies began to develop a new blockchain network, or more precisely permissioned blockchain, for the enterprise case, because many researchers and entrepreneurs realized that the ability of the blockchain, both in privacy and transparency, can be explored even deeper. One of the big companies that started developing the blockchain platform was Linux Foundation, which created Hyperledger, or an umbrella project for the blockchain platform. Hyperledger is a large project that has been followed by more than 200 large companies. One well-known Hyperledger platform is Hyperledger Fabric, which initially contributed by IBM and Digital Asset. This platform has transaction capabilities of up to 3,500 transactions per second, with a minimum latency of around sub-second. In a bigger picture, Hyperledger Fabric has three processes in transaction flow, which are order, execute, and validate. At the order stage, the client will provide a transaction along with a proposal to its endorsing peers. After endorsing peers accept it, the endorsing peers will provide the transaction along with its endorsed signature or endorsed transaction to the client. Then, at the order stage, endorsed transactions from the client are given to the existing ordering service nodes to be collected and arranged into a specific block. Finally, at the validate stage, the ordering service nodes will provide a block to all peers in the channel. In its implementation, Hyperledger Fabric ordering service nodes consist of three types, namely Solo, Kafka, and Raft. Solo doesn't have a consensus algorithm and is only used during the development of the blockchain networks, while Kafka and Raft have, which name is crash fault tolerant. This presentation will examine the capabilities of Kafka and Raft as implementation of the ordering service node. Although Kafka and Raft use the same consensus algorithm, the architectural form of the Kafka and Raft are different, so that the two ordering service nodes implementations must have different performance from the success rate to the throughput rate. Ordering service nodes is one of the nodes that plays an important role in maintaining channel configuration and carrying out the transaction process. In channel configuration, the ordering service nodes controls the basic access of the channel through the consortium of the configuration file. The ordering service nodes also limit which nodes are able to read and write data to them in accordance with previous limit consortium. Ordering service nodes also have several functions in its transaction flow process. In the order phase, the ordering service nodes will receive the endorsed transaction from clients. After the process of receiving a transaction reaches the batch size, or the limit of the number of transactions that can be received per batch, or batch timeout, or the limit for the receiving transaction per batch, the ordering service nodes will arrange the transaction in batch into a strict order and develop the batch of transaction into a block. Because transactions that are in a block are in the form of strict ordering, all successful transactions that are validated will not be discarded or will not become a ledger forks. Plus, in the validate phase, the orderer will distribute the blocks to all peers connected in a channel, according to the channel configuration. In its implementation, ordering service nodes is divided into three types, namely Solo, Kafka, and Raft. Solo is an implementation of ordering service nodes only to test the blockchain created. Solo works without using a consensus mechanism and only consists of one ordering node. Kafka is an ordering service implementation based on the crash fault tolerant mechanism, where in this mechanism, the process will continue even when some of the existing nodes experience a failure, while N/2 plus 1 nodes can still run. This implementation uses leader and follower in the configuration node and managed using Zookeeper ensemble. However, the process of finding offset numbers is right from the ordering service nodes because the ordering service node has been configured to be able to maintain local locks, and not through Kafka partition as usual. Because of this process, it is unlikely the duplication of the block will occur, but the process is slower than directly from Kafka itself. Raft is actually similar to Kafka because the ordering service implementation also using crash fault tolerance. To run the implementation of the leader and follower, Raft used the Raft consenter, which is actually the ordering service node itself. Raft is also a system used by Hyperledger Fabric as a connecting bridge to design a consensus of practical Byzantine fault tolerance, because there are similarities in integrating the consensus with Hyperledger Fabric. Although using the same consensus mechanism, the application of two ordering service nodes implementation has a quite clear difference. First, Kafka and Zookeeper were initially set up not for large networks, so that even though there are many organizations and channels on the blockchain network, the process is like one organization, or not too decentralized. Different from Raft, which use ordering service nodes directly as a replication state machine or Raft consenter, so that each organization can have its own ordering service nodes and make the blockchain network more decentralized. Second, Kafka must need Docker image for the crash fault tolerant process to work because Kafka was built by Apache Kafka. This is quite complicated and its use must also be further studied. Raft, on the other hand, developed natively in the Hyperledger fabric itself, so that its use is easier. Overall, Raft is easier to set up than Kafka because the Raft is built directly from the ordering service nodes, while Kafka must make the Kafka brokers and Zookeeper ensemble so that the crash fault tolerant process can run. However, Raft is more complicated than Kafka when making channel configuration, only because Raft has to set up a client and server transport layer security certificate, compared to Kafka, which only needs to determine the number of Kafka brokers and zookeepers ensemble. Then, when forming the Docker container, Raft only needs to form an ordered service node that has been configured according to the previous network configuration. Different from Kafka, which must form separate Kafka and Zookeeper containers, and must determine the number of Kafka and Zookeeper to be formed into their containers in the compose Docker file. Because of that, the process of forming crash fault tolerant through Kafka becomes trickier. For simulation configuration, Kafka and Raft ordering service nodes implementation will be tested to see which performance is better. The blockchain network consists of three different channels. Each channel has two organizations, and each organization has two peer nodes. What distinguishes Kafka from the configuration made of the Raft is the Raft consists of 5 ordering service nodes according to default, while Kafka consists of 3 ordering service nodes, which its ordering service nodes is set for one particular channel. The chain code used for this process is simple chain code. Because this presentation focuses on the ability of the Raft and Kafka, all the time of the chain code is changed to 100 seconds. The performance test for Kafka and Raft on the Hyperledger fabric is carried out using a Hyperledger caliper that is specifically designed to test the ability of the blockchain network transaction. The configuration diagram of blockchain network will be seen after this. For configuration, simulation on Kafka and Raft is done in 36 rounds. Because the chain code used is a simple chain code, which is the default chain code of the Hyperledger fabric and can be directly used in Hyperledger Caliper, the process that is tested is created an account, query an account, and transferring money between accounts. Create an account and transferring money between accounts are included in the invoke transaction process, which later the transaction made will be entered into a block. On the other hand, query an account is included in the transaction query, where this process only checks which transactions have been entered into the block. Its process is carried out for rounds for each channel. with a total of 12 rounds for each process and 36 rounds for the whole process, with the first round tested with a transaction speed of 100 transactions per second. And for the next round, the transaction per second was increased by 100. For batch timeout and batch size is met according to the default of Hyperledger caliper, which is 500 milliseconds and 50 transactions. Simulation performed on Ubuntu 18.04 latest 64 bits with 18 GB RAM and 250 GB hard disk, installed with Hyperledger Fabric and Hyperledger Caliper. This is the simulation configuration framework with Kafka and Raft. Now, in the simulation result, on the create an account process, Raft has bigger possibility of success in making transaction compared to Kafka. This can be seen from table 1, that the number of rounds that have failed in a transaction and the minimum total number of successful transactions. Of the number of rounds that failed, Raft only failed 2 rounds of 12 rounds, while Kafka had 4 failed rounds of 12 rounds. Furthermore, from the minimum total success, which means there was a failure in a round, Raft managed to do 954 transactions out of 1000 transactions, while Kafka success in doing 548 transactions out of 1000 transactions. In addition, Raft also has a higher throughput compared to Kafka in this process. It can be seen in table 1 that both maximum throughput and minimum throughput and average throughput, whether there are transaction failures in the process or not, which make Raft faster than Kafka. Then, in a query an account on table 2, Raft and Kafka have the same success probabilities, or we can say 100%. However, for the speed of the throughput process in the query or checking transactions that are in the block, Kafka is faster than the Raft, both maximum throughput, minimum throughput, and average throughput, whether there are transaction failures in the process or not. Finally, in the simulation of transfer or sending money to another account, Raft and Kafka have equal success possibilities. But for the throughput process, the simulation shows that Raft is faster than Kafka. This can be seen in table 3 that both maximum throughput, minimum throughput, and average throughput, whether there are transaction failures in the process or not, Raft is faster than Kafka. From the result obtained, the info process or create and transfer on the Raft is superior to Kafka due to several possibilities. First, Raft has the Raft center which created directly from ordering service nodes compared to Kafka, which must make Kafka brokers and zookeeper ensemble, so that the info process is carried out faster. Second, batch timeout and batch size are not suitable for Kafka, so there is a failure in the block making process. From the research obtained, it is known that Raft is more superior than Kafka in terms of success and speed when conducting invoke transaction due to its simpler framework. Or we can say Raft has the Raft center which created directly from ordering service nodes, then Kafka, which requires Kafka brokers and zookeepers ensemble. However, in the process of querying the transaction, Kafka is superior to Raft since the throughput rate is bigger than Raft. In the further research, the crash fault tolerance in the form of a Raft should be tested for its ability with a new consensus of a Hyperledger if the Hyperledger fabric makes a new consensus, such as practical Byzantine fault tolerance or zero knowledge proof. This is the reference of the presentation. Now this is the end of the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hearing this presentation.